Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Break Through Your Blocks and Reinvent, a jumpstart platform for women 40 plus ready to get clarity, take the next step, and reinvent themselves. I'm your host, Mitta Wise, and I'm a holistic and empowerment practitioner right here in sunny LA today and originally from New Zealand. So, here today with us, we're very blessed to have her. Her name is Reverend Connie Habash, and her summit topic today is Let Your Body Guide You, the wisdom of sensation and emotion. Welcome, Connie.
Thank you, Mita. Great to be here. It's fun
Yes.
to find out that you're a Kiwi too.
That's
I
right.
have some friends from New Zealand.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Connie. She's a LMFT, a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's a yoga meditation teacher, ecotherapist, spiritual mentor, and author of Awakening from Anxiety, a spiritual guide to living a more calm, confident, and courageous life. Over the last 28 years, she's helped thousands of students and clients overcome stress, anxiety, depression, and spiritually awaken. Reverend Connie creates a safe, heart-centered, nurturing space to be authentic, open, and transform. She leads online programs worldwide, as well as retreats, workshops, ecotherapy sessions, and yoga teacher trainings in the San Francisco Bay Area. Wow, a lot of experience and wonderful things there. So, Connie, just tell us a little bit about you, your story, your background, how you got here, where you are today.
Well, I've been on a journey for a very long time and have, I guess, reinvented or recreated myself in my life a number of times over. But I think it all started when I was probably around 11 years old or so when I felt very connected to God. I call it the divine now. I use more of a general or a neutral term, I think, for it because some people have associations with that word God that don't work for them anymore. But I always felt connected to something greater in my life and began this journey of seeking. And that journey of seeking led me all kinds of places. It led me through college to Native American teachings and earth-oriented traditions and Hinduism and Buddhism and mystical Christianity and sacred sites around the world. Went to
Wow.
Glastonbury in England, and Mount Shasta is probably my main pilgrimage site that I go every summer, and Sedona and all kinds of places, learning from many different teachers. I have a primary spiritual teacher or guru in India, but I also study with a couple other teachers here. And that all wove together with my path in psychology and psychotherapy and yoga. So everything is synchronistically woven together in the work that I do. I've always, when I went to graduate school to study psychology to become a therapist, I knew that I had to go to a school that integrated the spiritual as part of our human experience. So everything's been this journey of weaving together many different things. That's why I became an interfaith minister, is because I believe that there's a truth that runs through all religions, and there are essential truths like love and compassion and peace and nonviolence, things like that. So I've been on a search all my life for finding the common ground.
It's beautiful. I love that. And I love how it's so true. We weave everything together that we've learned and all our experience into what we offer and what you offer today. So tell us a little bit more about what you do offer today. I know you talk about your soul speaking through emotion and some different things about emotion, but tell us about your work today.
Well, what I've found over the years in my work with clients and in my own healing journey, healing depression and anxiety, is that spirit or our higher self, if you want to think of it that way, communicates to us in a variety of ways. And when we're looking at a change in our life, when we're looking to transform or to start a new chapter, it's always come to me through my body. I would say it's intuitive, but the intuition kind of settles in me and I can discern which way to turn and what decisions are a yes and what are no by how my body responds to it. And that's often through how emotions manifest for me. Now, in my work with my clients and what I wrote about in my book is that emotions, they are not thoughts, but we often think that they are. We often think that, if I ask someone, well, you say you're feeling depressed, so what does that feel like to you? And they might say, well, I just think I'm no good, and I don't think there's anything worth living for, and all that kind of stuff. But those are all thoughts. So I take them into how does that experience in your body? What sensations are you having? And I find that when we shift out of the mind, because the mind's always telling a story, and the stories could take us off in lots of different directions. Some stories can be helpful, and others are just taking us off track because of fear, because of resistance. When we let go of that and we come into our body and we start to sit with the sensations. Oh, the feeling in the pit of my stomach. Oh, the heaviness in my heart. Oh, the clenching in my jaw. And we stay with that. The emotion has a life cycle. It has like a wave that goes through us. And when we allow that, when we really sit with and welcome the emotion in rather than our tendency is just like push it away or avoid it or repress it. But when we allow that, then something transformative can happen if we stay with it long enough. As we know, just about everything in life, everything changes. Nothing ever stays exactly the same. So when that emotion shifts, that's when clarity can start to reveal itself. That's when messages can come in. That's when we can discern our true path.
Beautiful. And do you work in this kind of work? Do you work with a lot of women, um, 40 plus, or some people like to say the seasoned, the
Yeah,
seasoned woman?
absolutely. That's my primary. I myself am in my late 50s, and that's my primary population, I guess you would say, that I work with. Is a lot of women, 40s to 60s, in that range. Some in their late 30s as well. But they're really women who the main thing they have in common is that they find that they're coming to some sort of turning point. They know, they sense, they feel that something needs to change, either within themselves or in their outer life, whether it's a change in career or a change in their spiritual beliefs, or needing to move, or change in their relationships. And they're responding to that inner call, that inner sense, and that inner knowing, and wanting some guidance or some experiences that will assist them through that process.
That's beautiful. And I know you offer a lot of different kinds of things. One of the things I saw on your site, well, there's actually two or three, but one of the things I saw was that you offer ecotherapy. Can you tell us what it is, tell the viewers what it is and why that's important to you?
It is it is like my lifeblood these days.
Mhm.
In my journey, my spiritual journey through the years, I've become more and more connected to nature, and it's become um, a way that I experience the divine palpably, spirit expressing through all forms of life. I believe that everything is a manifestation, a very unique and beautiful manifestation of the one divine presence in infinite forms, including us.
Mhm.
And when I'm out in nature, first of all, it grounds me. It connects me to the earth. And a lot of us feel so much anxiety or despair or angst because we are disconnected from our home, our planet, which is our home. We're not really feeling truly connected to nature. We might drive to it and visit it and take a picture and then go home, and we don't live in that. But nature is actually all around us. It's within us. It's in every cell of our being, because every part of us came from nature. The water in our blood and our tissues, the food that we consume, the air that we breathe. So when I get outside in nature intentionally, it brings me back to the knowing of that I am part of this and it is all part of me, and it grounds me. But what it also does, it helps me get back into my body, because a lot of times, especially nowadays, I know my work is a lot online. Work with people all
Right.
over the world online, and we get a lot into our heads. We're up here a lot, And when I get outdoors into nature, I come back down into the experience of really being in my body and feeling my feet, especially if I can take off my shoes, in the dirt or in the grass or walking in the sand on the beach, and immerse in my senses, immerse in the sounds of the creek or of the wind making the redwood trees creak a little bit as they sway, or the smells of the decomposing leaves on the forest floor, or rubbing my finger on one of the bay laurel leaves that we have here in this area. And then I can smell that pungent and beautiful smell of the bay. So it brings me back fully into my body and into the present moment. And then I feel that I receive messages from nature. Either when I'm out there, I can feel in my body a sense of aliveness or a sense of direction and guidance, or things can happen. Things can synchronistically happen out in nature. So I remember a time when I took a client out into an ecotherapy session. And just as they were talking about something that had a lot of emotion for them, a bird came nearby and started tweeting at them, and so I would ask the client, well, what do you think this bird has to say to you? And we can receive messages that way. We can receive messages from the texture or of the bark on a tree, or the way that it grows, kind of in this meandering, twisted way, that we aren't walking a straight and narrow path all the time. We're letting ourselves being carried like a river through all the twists and turns. So there's always messages to be found out in nature that it's offering us in every moment when we're really present and in our bodies with it.
It's beautiful, and it's so true. I mean, it's so centering when it changes your energy when you're out there and then you come back.
Absolutely.
So I know that you have a book. It's called Awakening from Anxiety. And tell us a little bit more about it and why it's different from other books about anxiety and stress.
Well, awakening from anxiety emerged from many years of working with clients. And when I sat in myself with, well, what is it that I think I deal with the most, that I'm the most effective with people, not just with my clients, but also with my students that have come to my yoga classes and my retreats. And it has always come back to anxiety and stress. And the book is different because I've oriented it toward people on the spiritual path. A lot of times we seek out spiritual awakening because we're looking for that sense of inner peace, right? We're looking for something to release us from the stress and anxiety of daily life, especially in the 21st century. And then maybe we start meditating or practicing yoga and we feel good for a little bit. Maybe we feel good for as long as we're lying in shavasana at the end of our yoga practice, or maybe
Right.
for a little while after we meditate. And then the anxiety or the stress or the worries or the fear creeps back in. And sometimes we can think, well, am I doing something wrong? Because here I am doing these spiritual practices, and the peace isn't staying. It's not sticking around. And that's because we're human beings and we're going to have emotions. And so the personal and spiritual practice that I outline in the book, which I've talked some actually a little bit already about embodiment and being present, is not that we make all that anxiety and stress go away forever. I think that's unrealistic. I think that sets people up for disappointment. And then they judge themselves when I thought I got rid of this and now it's back and I must have done something wrong, or maybe I haven't been doing a good enough job. And none of that is true. The real power, I think, the empowered path in dealing with any emotion, not just anxiety or fear, is that we know how to be with it when it shows up. We know how to ride the wave of it and let it wash through us. And we know how to learn from it, that every emotion actually has a message, it has some wisdom, it has something to teach us. And there's a particular set of practices in the book that I offer that allow us to tap into the gifts and the wisdom of even those very uncomfortable emotions like anxiety.
Mhm. And I'm sure during the last couple of years during the pandemic that everybody could have done with having your book in their home. But tell us
Absolutely.
a little bit, how did you navigate through those 2 years, and how did you help other women navigate through those last 2 years?
Well, in all honesty, the last 2 years have been quite good for me in many, many ways. Um, I especially liked the beginning of the pandemic when things really kind of came to a stop and there was all this quiet. There was quiet in my neighborhood. I felt like I had permission to take some time to be more present and to meditate more and to do more of my inner practices. And then all my work suddenly shifted to 100% online. I had been doing maybe about a third of my work online at that point. Um, but then what happened, as probably most of you watching today can relate to, is everything creeped back in again. All of the old habits, all of the stressors as we started to get back to quote unquote normal, which I remember a neighbor walking by probably like 6 months into the pandemic. He said, "I can't wait till we get back to normal." And I said, "I'm not sure that I like the idea of the normal the way it was, you know?" And he gave me this really weird look, you know, but um all of the old habits and the habit of thinking and our busyness, for me, like I started to get too busy again, and I
Mm.
had to a couple of times put on the brakes and say, wait a minute, what have I learned from this experience of, sheltering in place and all of that? What have I learned from the pandemic? And not just from the pandemic, but from the messages I received from the divine, that I need to slow down, be more present, and have less doing going on so that I can be more of who I'm here to be. And I find that as I let myself be more and let that being be enough rather than the constant doing, it takes care of most of the doings.
It's true. Um, so tell us a little bit more. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your work and the various different things that you offer? I know you have some retreats, I believe, and you have classes and a monthly meditation class and different things that you offer. So tell us a little bit more.
Well, as I said earlier, I love synthesizing and weaving things together. So to me, an ideal day or a weekend is being out in nature, in spiritual community, with particularly with women, although I do lead retreats for all genders as well, but particularly with women, where we share in sacred circle, where we're doing yoga, we're really embodying ourselves through the yoga practice, and then embodying ourselves through going out in a mindful walk through the forest and doing practices that deeply connect us to nature and to spirit and to each other. And to me, that brings it all together, and then soulful sharing and reflection. And we do art together sometimes. We'll even play games sometimes together to get to know one another more. But really heartfelt sharing and reflection of all those practices and experiences. And that's what I love weaving together the most, is bringing all of the different hats they wear under one umbrella and taking people out to have an experience for a day or for a whole weekend or longer together.
That's great. And going along with that, can you share perhaps one ritual or that you do every day that could help the viewers?
Yes. So I love to do what's called sit spot. And I teach this in all of my retreats. Is I always have a sit spot component. People who come regularly know, oh good, it's sit spot time. It's like one of their favorite things to do. Um, And I usually, so in the morning, I will often do a little sit spot practice, and I'll start it with a little offering to to spirit and to the land. So I actually have some tobacco that I offer as I do a prayer of gratitude and appreciation for the planet and for spirit and for my life. And then I sit. So sit spot is where you just choose a place in nature, preferably one that you come back to again and again, the same spot, and you sit there being fully present for ideally about 20 minutes, but just a 5-minute sit spot I find renewing and rejuvenating. So I sit and I softly with my eyes, not, I don't try to stare hard at things, but I softly try and take in what I'm seeing, the different colors, the different shades of green in the leaves and the plants, and what is happening with the squirrels and the birds here in my yard. I sit in my front yard. Um, I listen to sounds near and far. I might I might get down and get really close to the blades of grass and watch like little ants or other little bugs crawling through them. Um, I feel the wind on me. I breathe in the air. I just sit there and become present.
Mm.
And the reason why 20 minutes is recommended is that when you sit there long enough in a sit spot and you go back to the same one again and again, the beings in nature start to get to know you and start to welcome you and include you. So the birds will come a little bit closer. I'll get to see more of their activity. Right now, there's a lot going on with nests and
Mhm.
raising, little chicks and things like that, which is so exciting and magical to watch. Um, it it fills me every morning. It fills me, and it reminds me of why I'm here. It reminds me of this amazing planet that we live on and how blessed we are that the earth gives to us abundantly. It reminds me of the miracle of all life, whether it's the jasmine blossoms that are coming over my neighbor's fence or that hummingbird that likes to come and drink from the blossoms of the Mexican sage.
Mhm. Yeah, and that filling and centering it is a wonderful start to the day, right? And it filters through the day for you. It sets the tone in a way. So that's great. Tell us about your free gift. I know you have one.
Yes, so related to my book and to my work with helping people calm themselves or release stress and overcome anxiety, I have 4 calming practices. I have a 20-minute, no, it's not 20 minute. I think it's about a 12-minute meditation working with the breath. It's called a calming breath meditation. And then I have 3 other practices that you can use on the spot almost most anywhere. Some of them you can use very subtly, just even sitting like waiting for the dentist. And others, are a little more active with the body, but they're all designed to readily help you find that calm, centered, peaceful place within you, and maybe to calm the emotions enough so that you can work with them and discern them and listen to them so they're not so overwhelming.
And do you have a free workshop coming up as well?
I plan on having one over the summer, but I don't have it officially announced yet. But
Okay,
yes,
great.
so anyone who's on my email list will find out about my upcoming offerings. I offer some free events, and then I have the retreats and workshops and trainings and things like that.
Great. So viewers, make sure you go to um, Connie's links below. They're below the interview, and that's all her social media and her website links and her free gift links. So please just take advantage of that and go to her sites, give her some love and connect with her. Yes, and find out all the valuable and heartfelt things that she has to offer for you. So valuable. Um, Connie, thank you so much for giving us your time, energy, love, passion, your sweetness, everything, your expertise. And that's it pretty much for today. This has been Reverend Connie L. Habash, and I'm Mitta Wise. Again, viewers, go visit her, see what she's all about, have a look more in depth, take advantage of her free gifts, give her some love. And that's it for today. Thank you so much,
Many
Connie, and bye,
blessings.
everybody.
Thank you so
Namaste.
much, Mita.
Bye.